Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of Dayspring Discussions. I'm your host, Sean McGahee, and this is a show where we talk about movies, TV, sci-fi, fantasy, comic books. If you geek out about it, we're going to talk about it. You can find Dayspring Discussions on our Facebook group or on Twitter, and you can email us at dayspringdiscussions@gmail.com. And of course, listen to Dayspring Discussions on iTunes, YouTube, Podomatic, and Patreon, guys. Well, it is Monday morning. Hope you all had a great weekend. Hope you all went out to check out Thor Ragnarok this weekend. You can see my review along with Lisa on the Dayspring Discussions page, wherever Dayspring Discussions is published. Go check it out, see what we have to think, see if we think the same way that you do, and of course leave comments on social media or on YouTube and let us know what you think, guys. Alright, well, it's going to be a light show today, guys. I know the last couple weeks have been a little iffy in regards to shows. What happens is when you do this as a hobby instead of an actual job, turns out everything else takes precedent over it. So I went on a little vacation. Last week was a little iffy with my schedule, but this week I should be able to give you at least 3 to 4 full shows. We'll wait and see. You never know. Life comes up. But we're here. Let's talk geek and let's get on with it. Okay, guys? Amazon looks like they might be getting a Lord of the Rings TV series. Variety is reporting that the Tolkien estate and Warner Brothers are quietly shopping around for a place to put a television show that is set in Middle-earth. Amazon has emerged as the frontrunner for this series, and Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos himself is reportedly personally involved in negotiations. Now, the Lord of the Rings books were published between July 1954 and October 1955. The Lord of the Rings movies between 2001 and 2002, directed by Peter Jackson, went on to gross over $2.9 billion at the box office and had 30 Academy Award nominations between the 3 films and 17 wins. Then Jackson went on to adapt Tolkien's The Hobbit into 3 feature films between 2012 and 2014, which would then go on for the whole saga to make $5.8 billion on the global box office. Now, I'm a Lord of the Rings fan, I guess you could say, but I'm not a big Lord of the Rings fan. I enjoy the films. I tried reading the books many years ago. I just couldn't get through it. The movies, of course, I went and saw in theaters, and Lisa, my wife, is a big fan of the movies. She loves the extended editions, and I know a lot of people do. For me, I like the originals, though. I like, 3.5 hours. I think everything's there. She likes to watch the 4.5-hour extended editions. I can't do that stuff, no. So I like the original trilogy. I will say that it is definitely one of the best film trilogies in cinema history. The Hobbit, however, I know they were trying to capitalize on Lord of the Rings and extend it out. Originally, Peter Jackson was supposed to make 2 Hobbit films. They ended up with 3. Even Guillermo del Toro was supposed to direct the films. He didn't do it, so Jackson did it himself. I didn't like him. I thought the first one was the second one was and the third one was just bleh. Not a big fan of them. A lot of people nowadays are comparing them to the Star Wars prequels. I would say that's a fair comparison. Because just like the Star Wars prequels, we only needed 1, maybe 2 films. Instead, we got 3. It was spread out too far, too much. You didn't need all that filler. 1 film. With the Star Wars films, I always like to tell people, really, if you're trying to get into Star Wars, I give them the original trilogy, and then I'll give them just Episode 3, because the majority of what you want with the backstory is in Episode 3. Unfortunately, with Mr. Jackson, he took and he spread it all out within those 3 films. But really, I think the first one is probably the most important. That's the one where Bilbo gets the ring and meets Gollum and all that stuff to go along with it. That, I think, is the most important one. So if you're going to watch a Hobbit movie, I think it's probably that one. But the original Lord of the Rings films, I do enjoy. I like the world. I think it's really cool. They just came out with another video game that is set in Middle-earth called Shadows of War, I believe. Let me look it up. Yes, Middle-earth Shadows of War just came out. I haven't got a chance to play it. I really don't play video games too much. But it seemed cool. The trailers made it look cool. People are still excited about Tolkien and Lord of the Rings and this world. So I think a TV show would be good, but I think it's also going to be very expensive. What's happening now in entertainment and TV is that people are starting to look for the next Game of Thrones. The series has only one season left. It's going to be ending. It's got that fantasy drama niche that needs to be filled. I think people have realized after Game of Thrones there is an audience for that kind of programming. And I think now people are willing to jump on it. There's, of course, the spin-offs of Game of Thrones that are said to be developed by HBO, and we'll see how that goes. But other people are looking at Game of Thrones as saying, if we make something similar with our properties, we can be successful as well. And Lord of the Rings definitely falls in that category. Everyone's hoping that Lucasfilm and Disney make some kind of Star Wars television show, hopefully set in the Old Republic era, to where it'd be very Game of Thrones-esque. It's something that'd be really cool, but the thing about making a series like that, or like a Middle-earth series, it's going to be very, very expensive. Not that Game of Thrones isn't expensive, but with Star Wars you'd have to add starships and lightsabers and planets and all that stuff with creatures to go along with it. But the same thing with Lord of the Rings. With that, you had to make creatures and orcs and hobbits and elves and all that stuff to go along. So it'd be a very expensive show to make. So you really have to treat it very carefully, and you have to really put in the money to do it right. If they're not willing to put in the money to make it what it should be or what fans are hoping it will be, I say let's just not do it. Unless you can do something right, why bother doing it at all? I think Amazon would be a pretty good home for it. Amazon is already engulfing itself in the world for what it can be. It just bought Whole Foods, going into the supermarket chain. It's already controlled and manipulated the retail industry into changing its game. It's now trying to get into the streaming service of original programming. Not that it already hasn't, because it's got shows that it's happened, like Man in the High Castle, one of my favorite, Red Oaks, and other shows that people enjoy watching on Amazon streaming. It's been doing it for a while, but Netflix is still the big game in that show. Hulu even, I think, has a few more shows that I've enjoyed more than the Amazon original programming, but Amazon needs to step up its game, and I think bringing something like this will be the way to do that, much like how CBS tried to step up their game by bringing in the Star Trek Discovery television series to their streaming service. Getting a big tentpole property like this on the Amazon streaming service, I think will bring in quite a few new customers and get a lot more people interested in the Amazon programming, because of course when they log on to watch the new Middle-earth series, they're going to have commercials for other Amazon series for that as well. Now, whether they get this thing going before Lucasfilm and Disney does something with the Old Republic era, whether it be a movie or a TV series on the Disney streaming services coming out, I don't know, but I'm very much comparing the two of them to that, because I think they're both going to have that Game of Thrones feel to them, or at least should, because they see how successful HBO has been with the George R.R. Martin series. I think they're looking to replicate that to success and possibly beyond that, and grow the brand too. The Hobbit kind of left a lot of people with a little bit of a bad taste in their mouth in regards to Middle-earth, much like the prequels of Star Wars. Star Wars went on, gave us The Force Awakens and beyond to kind of redeem itself. I think maybe Middle-earth might need a little redemption to itself, although it does still have those original Lord of the Rings films, which are still good to watch, still quality films, as well as other forms of media such as video games and books and all that stuff to go along with it. But I don't know. I would like to see, I think it'd be a cool idea to have a Middle-earth TV series, but again, I'm just very hesitant because you got to do it right. You got to make sure that you have the production budget each episode to get the quality that you need. I'm not saying you need to do as high quality as what Peter Jackson did, but you have to plan it to make sure that everything looks good, because if it doesn't look good and it doesn't act good, if you don't have the story there, if you don't have the characters there, that's why Game of Thrones is so successful, because of the characters and the drama. It's a drama first set in a fantasy world. That's what you have to remember. Give me good characters set in Middle-earth, and then you'll be successful. That's what Lord of the Rings did, and frankly, that's where The Hobbit fell short. But let me know what you guys think. Hit me up, dayspringdiscussions@gmail.com. Of course, find me on the Facebook group and on Twitter. Do you like the Lord of the Rings extended editions? I'm not a fan of them. I think they're too long. I know. I'm not a fan about criticizing how long films are, but for those, I criticize, so sue me. And that's it for me today, guys. Nice short show. I'll be back tomorrow with some more news. Like I said, this week, hopefully I can get out some good stuff for you. Because of my schedule, I should have the free time to do so. But keep firing back. Find me, hit me up. Let me know what you think about stuff going on in the world of geekdom. And then we'll all get together and figure it out. 2 weeks, Justice League comes out, guys. Are you excited for it? I was more nervous. But as we get closer, I'm more excited. All right, that's it. Let's get it done. Let's get on with our day. Until next time, guys, may the Force be with us all.